Hi guys, I just wanted to come on. Quite a few of you guys always ask me if you can have a full-time job and still work for an airline. So I'm going to go ahead and give you the reasons yes and the reasons no, okay? And I really like these topics that you guys are coming up with. And so if you have any other topics that you want to talk about, let me know and I will definitely do the topics. Okay, so the question is, can you have a full-time job and an airline job? Okay, so there's yes and no. So it's going to depend on so many factors. It's going to depend on the airline. It's going to depend on the station. It's going to depend on like the flight schedule of the station, like how many flights are going in and out, how many people work at the station. If you can trade with people, it's going to depend on bids, seniority if people pick up your shifts. And it just depends on all of those things, okay? So for instance, at the beginning, I did work a full-time job. But my full-time job was I worked at a hospital, and for us, hospital is 36 hours a week. So we did 3 12-hour shifts. So what I did was I worked specific days at the hospital, and when I used to bid around my hospital schedule. So for instance, if before I kind of had a relationship with certain people, I would just say I would bid so that I would make sure that I never, ever, it didn't conflict with my hospital job. So for instance, if I used to work at the hospitals from 6 a.m. to 6:30 p.m. So the shifts that I picked up for my bid, my number one shifts were the night shift. And the night shifts would either start at, there was some 7:45 at night shifts. There was some 11 o'clock and 11:30 p.m. night shifts as well. So I would do that. Sometimes I would do it on the days that I worked. Sometimes I would do it on the days that I didn't work. We also had really early morning shifts that were from 3:30 to 5:30 in the morning, and I didn't have to get to my hospital job until 6 o'clock. And so I would be at the airport until 5:30 and then rush off to my hospital job. And as you guys know, like the hospitals, you have like a 7-minute window. So I would probably get there around 5:58 at my hospital job, and definitely clock in before that 6:07. So it's going to depend on that. Sometimes it's not that easy, and when it's not that easy, you have to work with your coworkers. Like right now, I do work with my coworkers, but I have a little bit. I don't work full time anymore at my main jobs. I work like a day and a half to 2 days a week teaching. So what I do is, even though I do have certain bids, I still teach on Wednesdays. And even if I do have a shift that is on Wednesdays at the airport, I am able to work with my coworkers, and we kind of have an understanding. I say, if I'm going to bid line 12, will you pick up my Wednesdays and I'll pick up your Tuesdays? So if you have a good relationship with different people and you know that you're going to be able to shift trade, bid what you want, it's not that big of a deal. What else? The only thing that's going to kind of hold you back, and this is not going to work for every single thing. And also, what I would put up all of my shifts to give away. So there's, I would click on and say offer to anyone. So I would look, and then people would just pick up my shifts as well. Not all the time, they're not going to pick them up, and you have to work your minimum, but sometimes just to get rid of shifts. Your seniority is also going to make a big difference to working, because then with your seniority, you're definitely going to be able to pick up better shifts than somebody that's more junior. If you only want to work the smallest amount of hours, you're just going to bid those, and you generally have an easier time with the flexibility of your schedule if you are junior. The only thing that's going to you might have to have a problem with is training. So when you initially get hired, you're going to probably have to go away for 4 weeks, not all at once. Sometimes it's 1 week at a time, and then you have like a week break, and then or a few months, and then you have to do another. But generally, it's about 4 weeks just to leave. So Denver or Chicago or Atlanta or wherever. And every airline job I've had to be gone for at least 4 to 5 weeks. What I did was I ended up working every weekend. So I was at that point, I was still at the hospital. And so my training was Monday through Friday. For the airlines, I would have to fly out and make sure that I was there by Monday morning at 8 a.m. So I picked up the weekend shifts at the hospital, gave away my shifts. and my friends picked up the shifts during the week. So they were really happy because I ended up working their weekend shifts, and then they ended up working my weekday shifts, and then they had the weekend off. I know not every single job is going to be that flexible. I know people that I've worked with where they have just the normal 9-to-5 jobs, and what they did was they took their vacation. So a lot of times if your job, you get 2 weeks off, they would take 1 week and then they would take another week, and they just kind of juggled things and got people to work for them. I mean, if there's a will, there's a way, and they always, when you get hired, the airline wants to have priority in your life, even if it's not your main money-making job. It's kind of like they expect you to work around the airline schedule, which, that's how it is just in the airline. Even once you're in there, I mean, airline takes priority, unfortunately, over anything, because even if you're working until just say 8 a.m., 5 a.m. to 8 a.m., if that plane doesn't go off, it's not like, oh, I can get up and leave. Unless there's a shift that comes right at 8 o'clock, but that 8 o'clock shift is working their 8 to 11, which is the next round of flights. So sometimes you do have to stay for delays, irregular operations, different things like that. It's also going to depend on your seniority. If you're a senior, generally they let the top senior people go, and then the junior people stay. So you know how they always say in the airline industry, seniority is everything. It is definitely everything. So yes, you can. I think it's easier to have a more flexible job, like substitute teacher, or like a registry job, or whatever type of job where it's like a day-to-day job. I know some real estate agents. I know Uber drivers, Lyft drivers, people with their own businesses, photographers. So I know a lot of people, it just makes it a little bit easier. Oh, they have their own business. One guy has a, where it's like a video game truck business, and he makes sure that he works at the airport during the week, and then on Saturdays and Sundays he tries to have those days open so that he can work his video game truck business. And believe it or not, some people do want to only work on the weekend, because if they have that normal 9-to-5 job, they'll stuff all their shifts into the weekend. So then you can do a lot of stacking that way as well. Just remember that when you bid, you're bidding and your schedule's going to change constantly. So about 3 months, ours averages about 3 months. So every 3 months, you're going to have to readjust your schedule and try to make it work with your normal job. It's stressful, but it's doable. So this is, when I'm talking about these kind of jobs, it's more like customer service, ramp. When you're a flight attendant, you won't be able to work a full-time job at all. The nature of just being gone so long and not knowing when you're going to come back. And I know, just say like if you're on 5 days in a row and then you come home for 2 days, then you're 5 days. So if you are a flight attendant, you just need to kind of focus on being that and just having a business. I was a substitute teacher while I was a flight attendant. So flight attendant, and then like a day or two a month, just for some extra money, I would substitute teach. And that actually helped a lot. And it kind of kept me grounded. So that was nice. But the great thing about substitute teaching, you don't have to get the job until the day of or the night before. You call the number, or you go on the app and you just say accept. So you know you're going to be there. And so you don't have to be stressing about, oh, I have a job at that particular point. Kind of like a day-to-day type job would work. So just the main thing is it's possible. It's not easy. It's easier if you don't have a set schedule at your other job, but it is possible. I've done it. I know many coworkers that do it, and we live in Southern California, so it's super expensive here. It's very expensive, and at my station, I don't know if anyone would be able to even live with just that job. They might have spouses that actually make enough money, or they have other money coming in, or jobs, or not jobs, businesses or something like that. And I know that at station, a lot of times you do start off low and then it ends up increasing. But I'm just talking about at the beginning when you're making just a little bit above minimum wage, $14, $15, $16 an hour. It's not, I mean, for us, maybe if you live maybe in a rural area or maybe the central part of America, it's doable. but where we live, it's not doable. So I just don't want you guys to get frustrated not being able to do the job, because it's such a big pay cut for most of you guys. Pretty much everybody is a pay cut, but it's doable. And if you guys have any more questions, any more topics, I will definitely go over it. Thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.